Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Jeffords, and for our assignment this week, I chose to further research how psychoanalysis is utilized as a method of art history. To start off, I would like to explain the main premises of the psychoanalytical approach, a theory originally conceptualized by Sigmund Freud and reinvented by modern art historians to get at the deeper levels of a work of art. This method is focused primarily on revealing the unconscious aspects of an artwork and exploring the various relationships and interpretations that can develop from purposeful presentation. And D'Avella points out in the second edition of Methods and Theories of Art History that Freud himself discussed in an essay on a work of Michelangelo's just how similar art history is to psychoanalysis. Freud thought that art history and psychoanalysis are both focused in on significant but often overlooked details that can dispense a plethora of information such as expressions, specific inclusions, posture, and gestures. The four most important concepts in this practice are the concept of the unconscious, repetition, transference, and drive. There are many important values to consider when utilizing this method. Freud's original concepts are largely outdated, such as, we don't typically use the Oedipus complex or penis envy. We don't really consider those legitimate theories anymore, but he did set the framework of the practice, and he established that the unconscious wields a certain amount of influence over some of our choices. And another thing to consider would be art historians working after Freud, such as Rosalind Krauss and Ernst Gombrich, have effectively changed the face of the study with their theories, the optical unconscious and the reception theory, respectively. The work I decided to psychoanalyze is a 1929 work by Salvador Dali, The Great Masturbator. Salvador Dali is one of the most famous surrealist painters of all time, creating works of fantasy dreamscapes where a logical, formal approach is not enough to address all the meaning imbued by Dali. Surrealism has close ties with psychoanalysis through its theory of displacement. Displacement is the act of replacing symbols with objects meant to disguise the true meaning. In this work, Dali purposely utilized different objects as stand-ins for his emotional expressions. Here we see a nude female figure emerging from a rock formation, tilting her head in a sensual way towards the thinly veiled genitals of a man without an identity, as his figure is cut off mid-chest. We see only from his groin to his bloody knees. The implication of this arrangement of figures is an allusion to oral sex. In deeper research, one would find that every included aspect in this work has a deep, significant meaning to Dali, from the grasshopper hanging underneath to the ants piling, and the two figures and their positions. To gather additional evidence to support my psychoanalysis, I would read writings on Dali and writings by Dali that speak to his personal experiences and influence as to why he might feel the need to hide these truths within his works. I could also look to articles like Hal Foster's, where he is focused on how the unconscious biases develop through history and instilled in social structures such as imperialism can impact interpretation of works of art considered to be primitive, even today. This would give me a great reference of what modern scholarship demands of psychoanalysis. From my research, I have concluded that there are huge strengths in this practice when used responsibly to expose biases and move beyond the typical formal analysis style, I can also see the many weaknesses, as pointed out by Hal Foster, where unconscious bias can lead to an improper interpretation of art they consider to be primitive, and how that discourse was harmful beyond just the value given to those works by that title. Thank you very much, and here are my sources.